We are going to the third panel, in which Mr. Patrick Busclers will be the moderator of the panel. Patrick, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I've been listening to all the panels, and a lot of very true things have been said, and I'm very happy. I'm actually, first of all, I want to thank Partners Albania for having me here as the moderator. And I must say they have been able to pick 4 people. I would call them heavyweights. They are people who are very, very important for the ecosystem. And I'm sure they have also very interesting insights. So the panel title is Perspectives of Different Actors from the Startup Ecosystem. So we're going to talk with 4 people. Let me introduce myself very, very, very quickly, because it's more about them than about me. But I'm running an accelerator, now Sprint Accelerator. It's for free, no equity, based on SDGs, already the 5th cohort. And I focus on Balkans, Turkey, because I'm Belgian, but living in Turkey, and Africa, especially East Africa. And you might think, why Balkans and East Africa? Are there things common between these 2 regions? And I have to say, when I started, I had no idea myself, but the more I started doing it, the more I saw that there were a lot of similarities. So it's a very interesting journey, I must say. And Partners Albania has been a partner almost from the beginning, and very, very helpful in finding startups to enter into the program. And I do hope Macedonia is also very, very active in our accelerator. So I hope that we have more people from Balkans coming into the program. So I hope that my 4 participants for the panel are there. I see already somebody smiling there. That's very good for me. So we have 4 people. I will let them introduce themselves. There is Alina, Stevica, Ardiola, and Marta. And I will begin with the most smiling person of all. That is Alina Moldovan, who is totally ready. I can see that, to introduce herself.
So hello, everyone. It is really a pleasure to be here with all of you. Thank you very much for the invitation. So a few words about myself. I am part of the Impact Hub Vienna's ecosystems and incubation team. So we run different programs with usually also a regional focus. We support entrepreneurs with capacity building. We also provide co-working spaces and a network of support that spans more than 100 locations over the globe. For those of you who don't know Impact Hub, we are a global network present in about 100 cities, and we support enterprises who have an impact mission. So that means that through their operations, they aim to create a positive social or environmental impact. We have run several collaborations supporting different social businesses and startups within the Western Balkans, and I'm very happy to be able to share a bit of our experiences in this region.
Thank you so much, Alina. I have also had the pleasure to work together with Impact Hub in Istanbul. So I'm very pleased that you could make it to the panel. I don't know what Stevica is. Am I saying your name correctly? Is it Stevica, or should I say it differently?
Thank you, Patrick. Is Stevica, but I'm cool with Stevica, okay, because usually people from the US call me that way. Hello, everybody. I'm happy to be here. I'm the principal at Filarush Capital. We are a venture capital fund based in Croatia. And so far we did more than 120 investments in the past 2 years, which put us on a map as the 2nd most active investor in the whole Eastern European region. With that way, we do tickets from 50,000 euros to 1.5 million, and we also run accelerator twice a year, accepting 10 to 20 companies per accelerator. For that matter, we are investing into founders that are from our region, and the founders from the rest of the Europe. So, for example, we have founders from Portugal and from Ukraine, from UK, Germany, Austria, Serbia, North Macedonia as well.
Okay, Sircha, but what I found most interesting in your profile is, I mean, what you're doing is of course great, but you are also a serial founder. So you have the background of a startup.
Exactly. I started my first company back in 2003. Had few fails, had few exits, and my latest exit was in 2019. I've sold my startup to Croatian Post.
Yeah, very nice. I think that's very important for the insights that we're looking for. Next, I would like to welcome Ardiola.
Hello, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Ardiola Hristic. I'm the Principal Manager of Advice for Small Business, Albania, part of EBRD, and as well Regional Coordinator for Local Consultancy in the Western Balkan. When it comes to advice for small business, it is focused in increasing access to know-how. And when it comes to startup community, there is a regional program, Star Venture, which I believe most of you are familiar, and I would be happy to share our experience with the partners and with other participants in the event. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ardiola. I have seen throughout the event this morning that you have been very, very attentive. So that was very nice to see that you were very serious looking there. Marta, I think you're in Brussels.
Ciao, ciao. No, I'm not in Brussels. I'm in London. Yes, I've been in Brussels yesterday. So
see, I was not far off, huh?
Yes, so I'm Marta. I'm from Business Network. Business Network is a support organization for social economy enterprises, so not social enterprises only, but also cooperatives. And basically our work is more focused on supporting the federations or consortiums of social economy enterprises in different regions of Europe and now even beyond. What I'm doing at Diez is solemnly curating the network and making sure that we are well connected with our members and supporting the members in their mission so that they can support their beneficiaries further in their ecosystem. So building the basically ecosystem for ecosystems and support those ecosystems to grow and thrive. Thanks a lot for organizing this for Partners Albania, because a huge effort. Thanks again.
I can only agree to that. Building the ecosystem above the ecosystems sounds very, very ambitious, to be honest with you, because we're already struggling with the first layer. I cannot imagine what must be the second layer.
We're trying.
We have some prepared questions, so let's go over them first. And I might also interrupt you to deep dive in some things that you're saying to make sure that we are all on the same basis. Actually, the topic is a little bit how to create the network. The finance thing is always coming up, of course. The access to funding. I would also like to. So on top of that, I would also take in consideration the quality of the startups, because we're always talking about access to funding. That's all very nice, but of course, I just saw yesterday a Belgian football team completely going down against Manchester City because they were not good enough. So I would also like you to put that aspect into the conversation, because we're always talking about it. It always sounds like the startups are the holy grail and they are the best, and it's actually the finance who is not following. But I would also like to kind of challenge you. Do we have enough good startups? So I would also like to have that in your conversation. So my first question is going to Alina. Are you still smiling? Yeah, okay. Based on your knowledge and experience, what are the strengths and threats for the startup scene in the Western Balkans? and how do they help support the development of the ecosystem? That's a whole other.
Those are a few questions packed into one.
I know, I know. I was just reading them. Don't kill me now.
All right. So maybe starting with the strengths, and again, just to bring things into perspective, I am speaking from the position of an organization that is not based in the Western Balkans and that does support programs for social enterprises specifically. What I saw over and over as strengths is really the entrepreneurial talent and drive that I see coming out of the region. I think there is a lot of potential to do things, very motivated people, very professional also. And I think when it comes to the impact potential that startups can have, there is so much that can be done in the region. So I have to say all the programs that we have run in the region have been very inspiring from an impact perspective. I also think that there are more and more things happening. There are more actors providing support, also in terms of capacity building, also in terms of funding. I think in the past few years, what I could notice is that we're slowly moving away, or let's say if a few years ago donor related funding was what we saw a lot, especially in the social and environmental startup area. Now I see some private companies moving in and trying to support financially. Yes, and I think there are many accelerators, incubators, local funds that are starting to pop up. So I think there's an increased awareness about entrepreneurship and also about social entrepreneurship. There are some things happening, as far as I know, also on the legal side, trying to support this area. So generally, I think positive developments. Now you've also asked me to talk about the threats or the barriers, to put it that way. And I think on the one side, there's lack of funding in the sense of the investor community is not so well developed in the region. But on the other hand, as you rightfully mentioned, we see that there are not so many startups who are actually ready for funding. And here again, I'm referring mostly to those who have a social or environmental mission. And for these startups, usually there are additional barriers in terms of scalability, in terms of trying to match let's say a social environmental return with financial performance, and added to that is a lack of awareness generally, or I would say there's still a bit of an unbalance between startups that are traditionally, let's say, the target of VC funds versus social businesses which require a different kind of funding. Mm-hmm.
Just an additional question here. So I know that your headquarters is based in Austria, in Vienna. Mm-hmm. Are you physically in some of the Balkan countries, like also with co-working spaces?
So we have an impact hub in Belgrade. We also have an impact hub in Zagreb. We don't directly have impact hubs in the other Western Balkan countries, but we usually work in partnership with established incubators and accelerators. And I saw some of them present on the panel, on the previous panel, so happy to see that.
Okay, thanks. Thank you. Let me go to Stevička. I hope I say it right this time. He cannot beat me anyway because it's digital, so I'm safe. I'm safe in my house now behind my micro.
It's good, no worries.
For me, it's interesting with your background, especially as a startup yourself. So what is your view on the evolution of the startup scene in the Western Balkans, and how well are organized the investors? So how developed is the investor scene today?
Okay, that's a perfect question for all our region. as you said, Patrick, there are so many similarities with this region and Eastern Northern Africa, and to my experience in Eastern Africa as well. So before I get to the answer to the question, I would like to put two things apart. When we talk about the startups, we need to talk about the startup scene, and we need to talk about startup ecosystem. Startup scene, in my view, is something like a rock scene. You can see lots of founders on conferences. You can see lots of founders pitching. You can see lots of founders on YouTube, on portals, in the media, but you don't see and you cannot see traction and real business results from these founders. Because if you're present on a scene, if you're seen in the media a lot, you don't have time to do business. And that's just really clear. Yeah. Startup ecosystem is the real thing. And now we all need to understand that we all are the part of the ecosystem. We can look at our small, tiny countries as a whole, but that's so wrong, because the markets in our countries is super small, and startups might do proof of concept there, but they cannot do real business. So we need to look at all of us as one region and one market. And in this ecosystem, we have startups, which is cool. But also we have institutions and organizations deploying grants. We have universities, we have incubators, we have accelerators, we have to have angel investors, business angel investors. We need to have venture capital funds, but unfortunately, only few of our countries have active venture capital funds, and there are not that many venture capital funds active deploying small tickets, 50 or 100K. So when we talk about the evolution of the system, first of all, we need to have stars, but business stars, not rock stars, that would succeed in any condition. And they are like guiding stars to younger entrepreneurs that look up into them. But when we have active stars, then we all need to deploy and create a system that will support other younger entrepreneurs that will try and fail many times. So the evolution must go from stars to the system that will hyper produce at one point entrepreneurs. And in the end, we come to the social impact stuff. Because when we have enough successful entrepreneurs, when we have enough successful businesses, then all of them can turn towards the social impact businesses. Doing social impact businesses in the regions like ours is counterproductive, because there are too many problems to be solved and we don't know where to begin, and funds and resources are super low. So until we build a really strong ecosystem that supports early stage business and startups, and when we have successes in this part, then we can do whatever we want, because we as a region will be successful. And this journey is 10, 15, 20 years at least. So some of us here are 40 years older or 50 years and older. We will be very old when we will see the fruits of our work here. So we have just to be patient and guide us and younger entrepreneurs and other ecosystem parts to do our job. And that's basically my view on the evolution.
So, but do you agree that when I came to Turkey, for example, that was in 2012, there was no ecosystem. And together with my wife, who is also my partner, we were fortunate to start our own platform. And today we are the biggest independent ecosystem builder with no sponsors, so bootstrapping, so nothing at all. And for me, the advantage was So let's say the States was the first, the United States was the first, Europe was the second, and let's say that we are the third, because Turkey is not further away than what you are, believe me. And I always said to the people, learn from the mistakes of these people. And I would like to ask you now, do we learn from these people, their mistakes, or are we making the same mistakes as they made when they started their ecosystem or their, whatever you call it?
Let's put it this way. It's very hard for someone from the US or even Germany come to Croatia and try to set up an ecosystem. Because we're not at the same stage of development, of financial development, I would say of financial literacy. So people that have done it in very similar conditions can help us. Until we find them, we will do our own mistakes, because all of the mistakes are unique to the ecosystem we're trying to build, or to the region, or to the people. Maybe in some regions of Europe and the world, people are not ready to become entrepreneurs. We can push as much as we want, but we cannot force them to be entrepreneurs.
No, and we shouldn't.
Yeah, and we shouldn't. It's a process, and in the end, we need to be patient. I'm 42 years old. If I would be 25 and hearing someone saying that, pardon my French, I would think, oh man, this guy is talking bullshit. But we really need to be patient, because things cannot change overnight, especially in the regions like from Croatia to Serbia to North Macedonia to Bulgaria to Turkey, Eastern and Northern Africa. We have one investment in a Lebanese company, and they're doing good, and they're moving towards the Egyptian market now. And what I saw in talking with them, we're all the same. We're basically in the very similar stage of development.
Yeah.
And you have to know that mature financial markets are not even looking at us, because when they will in 20 or 30 years or even more, because the thing is, when they think about the risk investment and they think about emerging markets, they are thinking about Italy or Spain. And we are so far away from Italy, especially Northern Italy and Spain.
But
so
we have the same. We have the same sea, so we have the same sea. So we'll get there. Their boats will come and arrive at our place. I'm sure about that. I would like to go to Ardiola. So Ardiola, take a deep breath, because I have a very long question for you. I'll try to read it, and I hope you get it.
Okay.
We can always put it in pieces. It's one long one and short one. So bear with me. In regard to your experience in supporting startups in the region, what are the main benefits of such supporting schemes for startups, their challenges to implement such schemes, and do you plan to continue such support for the startups? I hope the question makes sense.
Yes, it makes sense. It's not one question, there are several ones, but I'll try.
That is 5 questions, but not much.
Okay. I'll share with you the experience of EBRD Star Venture Program, which is a regional program designed to help high potential companies, high potential startups that are at the early stages of their life cycles, when the business know-how and mentorship are greatly needed, with the involvement of regional accelerators and local advisory. We started this program in our region in 2019, and it's funded by Luxembourg through EBRD Small Business Impact Fund. Well, the aim of Star Venture Program is to identify high potential startups and to mobilize globally sourced expertise to help these firms to scale up rapidly. And in this program, we are offering technical expertise, mentorship, local advice, and strategic business development expertise to achieve the scale. And the program model is based on intervention at 3 different levels, as we think it's important to have such an intervention in order to become a significant actor and part of the development of the ecosystem. Our intervention go into startup level, in accelerator level, and ecosystem level. So do you hear me, or?
Yeah. I'm
okay.
very patiently
Sorry.
listening now.
Okay.
I'm all ears, Ardiola, no problem.
Okay. I'm breaking time after time. StarVenture leverage a dedicated network of 1,500 mentors and advisors in order to channel a whole range of bespoke advisory services and industry-backed practices for high potential startups. Time after time, I underline the fact of high potential startups, because in our program, we do refer to such companies. The ones that has reached something, but now they are in the phase that they need to become more international. They need to have a growth strategy, because as previously the colleagues mentioned, we are small markets. We need to think globally. We need to think regionally. And this program is going into that direction to help this high potential startup to become more international. So through
Ardiola,
workshops,
sorry to interrupt, Ardiola. Do you mean that high potential is post money? They are already making money before?
They are already making money, exactly.
Post money.
So yes, these are making money. Flexible criteria for us to choose among those businesses. They can be operating up to 5 years in the market, can have a turnover less than 1 million euro, but their idea should be innovative, one should have an impact, and the most important thing, they should be ready to further develop and internationalize. Let me focus on the intervention that we do provide at the level of startup. So it's a tailored 18 months experience-based program, which consists
18 months. 18 months.
1-8. Yes.
Wow.
So yes, the first thing is recruiting and pitching. In our region, we do recruit those startups. It's not so easy to find high potential startup in Western Balkan region, so that they could fit the criteria. They are as well ready to expand. They do have some resources, but they need, further help in that direction through mentorship or through expertise or through further help for access funding. So they have a pitching in front of jury, which is made up of professionals, and then there we choose the companies that we think are ready to start the journey in StarVenture program. Immediately, they start with the Cambridge IFM Strategic Compass workshop, which is a diagnostic workshop based, and there we come up with an action plan for each of those companies, tackling the areas that they need intervention. And then for them, we have advisory project, which may address outcomes of Strategic Compass workshop or other suggestion coming from the jury. And then the most important thing for those startups is the mentoring program, 12-month mentoring program, which is assisting the startups to achieve the business growth over the medium and long-term period. We are matching the startups with successful business leaders from the region. And we are enabling them to share experience, but as well to develop some management, leadership, and personal impact capabilities. Our session of 6 months mentorship program, in total 12 months, we are providing several mentorship options to the startups, and they are the one who choose the mentor, depending on the industry they operate and depending on what they are the plans for the future. Of course, business matching activities, several types of business matching, be it business matching of specific sector or dedicated design for certain startups in our region, or as well, sometimes business matching initiatives are coming from the startups, and we are bearing along the lines with them. The last but not the less important thing is access to finance support through investor pitching and matching events. We are supporting the startups with their networking with various investors so that they could have a pitching and a matching event in order to increase the possibilities for access to funding. But we think it's not enough to work only with startups. As I already said in the beginning, working with accelerators, it's very important in order to have an impact in the countries of operation, because accelerators are the ones that can be multiplicators in the countries, can reach more startups, can prepare the ground for the future high potential startups. So we provided to our partner accelerators technical assistance in the areas that they might need help, be it for a certain type of services, be it for resources, but as well we implement together with them advisory projects for specific cohort startups, training, workshop. So this is more or less what we are doing through our Star Venture program. Do we face challenges, and do the startup face challenges? Yes, we do. I'm just sharing few of the challenges that I believe would be worthy for our other participants as well. First of all, dissemination of information, having the right information on the programs that are running for startups in the countries of operation, it's very important. And I think the platform that now is being launched would help in that direction. At least the startup would have the information, what is being launched, what is the target audience. Not everything is for every stage of development of a startup. The second thing that we think it's a challenge for startups as well is the business ideas might be very good, but then when it comes to pitching and to making them marketable, this is where we see some difficulties, and we have seen in our 3 calls of the Star Venture program. So startups need professional expertise and help in their stage of development, be it in writing a project, be it maybe in having a successful pitching towards an investor or towards a program, and as well in the other stages of their development. And the third, but not the least important, is access to funding.
That's an important one. Ardiola, I have to stop you here, and because I want to continue for hours. They are putting a time restraint on me, so and I have to have Marta still online. So thank you so much for your insights. Marta, we have a small question for you, but it's an important one. 2 parts is it. What is the importance and the role to be part of the European and regional networks? I guess you understand that because that's what you're doing. And what do you consider the impact of networking?
Okay, I'll start for the last one. Yeah. I like to see basically business network is got in its title network. So I like to see more networking for me as more as connecting. Connecting means for me really relationship building that is really built on reciprocity. So basically the practice of exchanging things. So which is sort of relationship that is also built leading from how you can be helpful for one to another over time, but also in a good times, in a bad times, because connecting matters. Connecting leads to impact, and connecting leads to happening, so that things are happening. So for instance, in my own experience and experience of this network, anything what actually happened good to us, anything what we succeeded in, it happened because of building those meaningful connections that we've made, and hopefully long-term connections. So basically, this notion of connecting stays really at heart what we at DSS take and understand under this magic word of network. So in terms of building connections, I think it's one of the key components that is really components to the ongoing success of your startup, social enterprise, but also a component, the key success success of such a network as this network. So I would like just to mention a couple of, and maybe to remind or reflect on a couple of the key benefits from building those connections. And I think one of the most important is really sort of building and supporting this community of support. So community of support through your peers, but also through the surrounding business community. And I think Stevica would probably really confirm that while you might be able to create the first element of business without a network, one of the major ways to build a sustainable and long-lasting success business is really by those networks, right? Then another thing is partnership opportunities. So when you start really to start connecting with other professionals, you will see really fast that there are a lot of opportunities for partnerships that can bring a lot of benefits in terms of financial and developmental. But the key is actually to recognize which partnerships are meaningful for you and be a little bit selective in this, because just not say yes to every opportunity and just look at what is best for your for goals of your business, but also partnership that should strengthen the weaker elements of your business, right? So to make you grow. Then another key benefit is access to resources. So I don't have to elaborate on that. So right, the network and building those connections really can give you a better business expertise, better business tools, that probably otherwise you might have not been able to support. But for me, what I've noticed, one of the key benefits are really those basically through the connectivity, you find this, you find a mentorship, a support. I think that mentorship, and it's been here mentioned quite a lot, that it's really essential because it really allows you to avoid mistakes, sometimes really costly mistakes. And has also, mentors will give you also possibility to give you a right directions. And most of the time, those mentors are the industry leaders. So they really can give you a lot of advice in terms of industry and geography that you are in, and even give you some better access to more networking opportunities. And then for me, while we are at DIESIS also building this ecosystem of ecosystems, I always see we very much focus on sharing information, sharing knowledge, and that's why those connections are so valuable for us, because we seek for feedback and ideas from our members, so we can gain a better, sort of perspective, and we can look at different aspects on the topics that we are working at, so to gain a new light. So this is really, really important thing. So if you're able to get a feedback and get a new idea from that community of support, this is, and then a constructive feedback that might help you to grow your enterprise. Then accelerate learning. So basically, sometimes we are suffering from some sort of a tunnel vision. So we are sometimes solemnly focused on, in terms of startup, building your business with the knowledge that you already gained. And I think that then, networking and connecting can really help you to broaden your scope, and then really to gain a little bit different perspective and get you out of that tunnel. Another thing is, because the startups, in terms of startups and in terms of startups development, you are creating in your startup, you're creating something that for a segment that is less explored, right? So you don't have reliable historic data. So so how do you counter this without shooting yourself in the foot? So this is where you can rely on your network, on your connections, because they can support you with the input, with the industry input, as I said, with the other geographies, and they can support you really with the good sort of, it is some sort of form of intelligence, I think. So this is something that that can help you to function in the region or in the ecosystem that you are in. And I think then how do you start building such a network or such a connection? So some time ago, recently, I came across the article in the Harvard Business Review, and then author mentioned a couple of sort of phases how to best build connections. I found it really interesting. So first, she said that, you know, first you have to reflect on what you reflect is actually what are your business goals, right? What are you going to, with who are you going to connect or reconnect, and how can you go out of your bubble, right? And out of a bubble that you always connect with this sort of usual suspect. And then to identify your superpowers, so what you can give as well and not only take. And then she suggests, then listen to your peers, listen to the people that you are connecting with and to that community of support, because but listen well what others have to say, because make notes, gather this data, and then from that point you can go from listening to doing. So really to connect and to seek those partnerships. So
Marta,
yeah,
Marta, can I'm very sorry, because I'm not
problem.
a time holder here, so I'm trying to.
But I finished. So those are yes, no worries. But I finished. So those are the key benefits from the networking in terms of regional and global. I think that there's a problem, because if you speak to a startup and he says, you know, I do the business alone, probably, and I say I don't know other startups in the town. And I don't know any investor here, so I go somewhere else. But then if you talk to investors, they would say, I don't find any prospective startups here. And in fact, so then, you know, so I go somewhere else to invest. So I say, look around first, your area, and then see whether there is really no one there, because you need to first look where you are, and then if you really don't find any startups, any investors, then you may go across borders or globally. Yeah.
Okay, on these wise words, I have to close the panel. I think, Marta, you agree with me that networking in person will be so much fun again.
Oh, yeah.
After all the online things we did. I think it's always more useful. So I have to thank, and I really appreciated your input, Alina, Stevička, Ardiola, and Marta. Thank you for being here, for sharing your thoughts with us. And I would like to give the word back to our dear friends from Starbal Albania. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, everybody, to all the participants, panelists, moderators. Thank you for all your very valuable contribution. And above all, thank you for your patience. But you have to know, probably you didn't realize what happened, but this forum actually happened against all the odds. We had the power cut at the office here in the headquarters, and the whole system went banana, but I think we managed. So thank you very much for your patience and for staying in such a high number till the very end. I'm not doing a formal wrap up because we promised to share with you the proceedings of this forum. It will capture also the small group discussions at the country level, because it was lots of interest in that sharing as well. And please, if you have any questions for the presenters, please send them to us till the end of the week, and we promise to follow up with them and make them part of the proceedings. As part of the sharing, we also will do PowerPoints. Whoever had the PowerPoint presentation will share them with you. And I just promise that we stay committed in the field and continue to have our collaborative approach in working with so many peers in the Western Balkans that do such a great job, with our partners in Europe, and with investors. It was also highlighted in this discussion that grants are fine, but we need to boost our startups in the Western Balkans to fit for more appropriate investment type. And so we stay committed, and we promise you'll hear from us soon with more to come. Thank you very much. Stay tuned and have a good day. Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.